Welcome to Kirby's Kickoff week number 3. So glad that you are tuned in. I'm Josh Kirby. We are powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. 3 weeks into the season. Can you believe it? Time has been flying by so fast. So first and foremost, really appreciate the support of everybody who takes the time to tune into all of the local high school football content. It's been a lot of fun. It's been exciting to cover 3 weeks in a lot of excitement so far. Last week brought us a lot of interesting games as the Millbrook Pioneers came out with their first win of the season over Heritage. James Wood improving to 2-0 with a 57-6 victory over Dominion, and Handley traveling to Liberty last week, beating them 46-16. In Loudoun County, Sherando falls to the Loudoun County Captains by 1.15 to 14. And as Sherando looks to rebound week number 3 against Jefferson, Fort Defiance defeating Clarke County. Coach Mikey's first game back in the Bull Run district as he takes on as new head coach of Fort Defiance. In Broadway, beating Strasburg 28-20. So Strasburg looking to get back on the right track. Last week, Warren County and Skyline both with bye weeks. They have games this week for week 3 and the rest of the season. Week 3 brings us matchups, including Sherando hosting Jefferson out of West Virginia in the EPAC conference in West Virginia. That's always a very competitive conference to be in and play in. Loudoun County travels to the Millbrook Pioneers, the Pioneers' third straight Loudoun County opponent that they have faced this season. The James Wood Colonels on the road to face Culpeper County. Catoctin traveling to face the Clarke County Eagles, who are looking to get their first win of the season. Warren County and Strasburg square off in a matchup in Strasburg as Warren County looks to bounce back after a very heartbreaking loss in week number 1. Skyline is traveling to Kettle Run after their week 2 bye. And on Saturday as well, Brentsville travels to face Handley. Handley's first game at the Handley Bowl on Saturday afternoon. We'll hear from Dan Gloster on that matchup more in a little while. But once again, this is Kirby's Kickoff. We are powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation, and so glad that you are with us. Coming up next, conversations with Ryan Rutherford of the River 95.3, Dan Gloster, Winchester's Classic Country 95.7, and interviews with coaches from around the area as we get you set for week 3 high school football right here on Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Frederick County Parks and Recreation announces Bluegrass and Barbecue, a free community concert held at the amphitheater behind Bowman Library in Stevens City, Virginia. On October 4th from 12 to 5, come out to the amphitheater at Bowman Library to enjoy numerous musical talents and some food vendors for an enjoyable afternoon of music with bluegrass and barbecue. For more information, you can check out the website fcprd.net. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad you're with us. Week 3 across high school football as we take a look at another matchup just a little bit closer as Warren County travels down to face Strasburg. I'm joined in studio by Ryan Rutherford, one half of the broadcast with Ryan and Randy on the River 95.3. Strasburg, first and foremost, a tough loss to a very good Broadway Gobblers team. And Warren County with a bye week last week, but a heartbreaking end to the game against Rock Ridge. What are your thoughts on this game coming up tonight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be some teams that are hungry for a win, two teams that are going to be looking forward to getting back out on the football field. Of course, Warren County coming off of the bye week and just looking to hit somebody else outside of a different color jersey. And Strasburg coming off of a loss. They were a team that played really well coming off the loss to Clarke County last year. It was a 1-point regular season loss. And then they rattled off 9 straight wins all the way to the state championship game. So Strasburg, certainly a team that can rebound. Warren County looking to still find their footing in this season.
And Warren County, it's very odd because whoever you ask, they like the early bye or they don't. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's like week 2 bye, it's so weird, you know? So a tough loss like that, I would imagine a lot of time to reflect and get ready for a tough Strasburg Rams team who's probably very hungry to get back in the win column.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Strasburg is one of the tougher teams on the Warren County schedule. I actually looked back through. I thought they played nearly every year. It's actually been back since 2022 when they last faced off, but it's going to be a very tough game for them. Warren County is going to need to get out to a hot start, similarly to like they did in Rock Ridge, but then the offense kind of fizzled out later on. I really love the skill players for Warren County. You got Blaze Scooby at running back, and Nick Harlow at wide receiver seems to be a lot more featured in the offense. He had 2 touchdowns in their opening win. But when you talk about that early bye, I think that could benefit Warren County in some ways more than it would benefit other teams because they are such a young roster. It's kind of like they were able to extend their preseason a little bit. They had and you could almost look at it as a very intense and serious scrimmage versus Rock Ridge because it was a game that counted, but now you have a week to recover and then get back out there against a tough Strasburg team.
Yeah, and again, going back to Strasburg, I would imagine they have a bitter taste in their mouth after losing to Broadway. And the way Strasburg is coached and the energy, just seeing them preseason camp, I know they're going to be coached up and prepared to get a victory. So in this case, what does Warren County have to do to try to limit the big plays that Strasburg has?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to come down to stopping the run, and Quincy Williams, the lead back in the trio of backs for Strasburg. They like to run that T formation with Quincy Williams usually lined up on one side, Lincoln Bosworth in the middle, and Brady Knight on the other side. Bosworth and Williams both returning from that state championship run team. Brady Knight sliding over from tight end. So they have 3 backs who run, and they all have different kind of skill sets. I think Quincy is probably the most well-rounded back coming out of the backfield. Lincoln Bosworth gets all those really tough yards. And Brady Knight's a great athlete, still kind of adjusting to the position, but had 85 yards on the ground. So it's really going to come down to Warren County stopping this powerful rushing attack of Strasburg. And also, we haven't mentioned the line play at all. Strasburg has a huge advantage when you talk about experience across the lines. They are returning, I think it's just about every starter from last year's state championship O-line. And then you look at the Warren County front, and it is a lot of young players. Nehemiah Carter, returning defensive end, looks really solid. But other than that, a lot of really young guys.
Should be a lot of fun at Strasburg. Ryan and Randy on the River 95.3 have the call. It is Strasburg and Warren County, part of Week 3 coverage. Kirby's Kickoff. Certainly appreciate the time, Ryan, and we will catch you next week.
Yes, sir.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports with Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad you're with us. Week 3 in high school football is here, taking a look at a matchup just a little bit closer. Dan Gloster of Winchester's Classic Country 95.7 has the call as Catoctin, Maryland travels down to a winless Clarke County Eagles team. Dan, thanks for the time as always. Clarke County trying to get their first win of the season after last week falling to Fort Defiance under first-year head coach Mike Yo, who is all too familiar with the Bull Run District.
Yeah, and I think it was, the score from week 1 to week 2, it was still not close for Clarke, but I know Casey Childs, talking to him earlier today, felt like the team played better, had a chance to go up 2 scores early, but missed a field goal, and then it kind of snowballed after that. Good thing is their last drive, they did get a touchdown, so something to kind of positive to work on into this week. But Catoctin, that'll be a tough one for them. They played each other very tough last year. Clarke County came out with a close victory, but this is a very young Eagle squad, and it'll be interesting to see how they can come together, and it would do their collective psyche, if you will, a big boost if they could get a win in their 3rd straight home game to start the season, this 2025 season. Then they go out, start out on the road next week for the first time.
Is there any scout you see on what Catoctin looks like this year?
The single wing, a spread, but they will also run out of the spread primarily. So I think that's what they will look to do, according to Casey Childs.
All right. So, Clarke, they're fighting hard for Coach Childs and his staff, despite the result on the scoreboard. What do you think it takes to get a victory in this matchup tonight?
Well, it's a cliche, but it's 4 quarters of football. They've played well in spurts, particularly last week. But just, the middle 2 periods, they just had some letdowns, and you just can't afford to do that. And I think they're giving up too many big plays, and if they can cut that down, that could go a long way towards helping them, get a victory. But they can't give up the big chunks of yardage like they've been.
So Clarke County and Catoctin, that's going to be on Winchester's Classic Country 95.7 with Dan Gloster and Tim Mondell. Let's take a look around high school football week number 3, as we do every week. Game you covered last week in Leesburg, Heritage and Millbrook. Millbrook getting that victory. And for the 3rd straight week, Millbrook taking on a Loudoun County opponent. This time around, Loudoun County travels to Millbrook in their first home game of the season.
Yep. It's an interesting matchup because you've got a Millbrook team coming off a big high, getting their first win for their first-year head coach, Nick Manuel. They're coming back home, again, these are teenagers. So, you're feeling really good about yourself. So sometimes there's a chance for a letdown with that. And then you got Loudoun County. I mean, they're really feeling great about themselves, getting a last second. Didn't come with as time expired, but pretty close. I think it was 6 seconds were left when it was a 47-yard field goal that Loudoun County kicked to go ahead 15-14. That was the winning score for Loudoun County. So they're going to be really kind of bumped up, and could they come out a little flat? So again, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it from a different angle a little bit. But I think Loudoun County is pretty tough. Anytime you can play Sherando like that, I think you're a pretty solid team. So, but Millbrook played really well, much better from week one or week two to week compared to week one. And they'll be excited about it. So that should be a good one from Pioneer Field on the campus of Millbrook High School.
There we go. That Sherando team falling to Loudoun County last week. They have a West Virginia team out of Jefferson, and we all know how the EPAC up in West Virginia can be with some very exciting competition.
Yep. Jefferson's struggling a little bit. They've scored 7 points a total in 2 games. Shut out by Spring Mills in week one, 14-0, and then they got really um, taken behind the woodshed, if you will, last week. Can't remember the opponent, but yeah, I think Sherando, talk about somebody wanting to get back on the winning track after a very disappointing loss. You would imagine there's going to be some maybe a little bit more anger than maybe if they had just walked away from Loudoun County for Sherando. So that ought to be I think Sherando should win that football game and get back on the winning track after that disappointing loss last week.
And with that to Sherando, obviously, their coaching staff sets them up in a position, the best position possible, to put the best product on the field to claim a victory. I have no doubt in my mind that's what they are trying to do this upcoming week. James Wood, a road game against Culpeper, two very dominant wins for this James Wood Colonels team. How do they keep this momentum going?
Well, they got to, again, the old cliches on the road, especially, you got to limit your mistakes and turnovers. It's two 2-0 teams going going to take on each other. Culpeper, big win over Western Albemarle week one, 34-7, then eked out a win over Eastern View in overtime, 15-14 last week. Whereas James Wood, two lopsided wins, 44-3 over Clarke, and then what was it, 57-6 over Dominion. So that's where, again, if they're again thinking about it from a psychological standpoint, they can't be too high going in there. They gotta remember the basics and just play good football. But they do have Owen Neal back. Apparently, no worse for wear from that injury he sustained against Clarke County that kind of knocked him out of pretty much the second half of that game. So it's good to see him back. But James Wood, Todd Wilson's got that program really, really humming. Josh here, and I believe it's year 3 for Mr. Wilson, head coach for the Colonels.
Absolutely. And I completely forgot to tease the fact that you have a doubleheader because you'll be at the Handley Bowl on Saturday. Handley hosting Brentsville, the Hall of Fame game, their first home game of the season. That's also on Winchester's Classic Country 95.7. The 2-0 Handley Judges with a big win against the Liberty Eagles last Friday. They host a Brentsville team who had a down year last year, but has had success in the past.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Brentsville came to Handley and beat the Judges. That was the year that Brentsville went all the way to the state championship game, if memory serves correctly for me. But again, definitely a down year last year for the Tigers. But Handley wanting to show well with the home crowd, right there at the Handley Bowl, of course, first home game as you mentioned. But Handley got a chance to go 3-0, and seems like they're coming together pretty good here early on in this 2025 season.
And I mean, I'd be remiss. It's not Classic Country 95.7. It's not high school football without you calling games at the Handley Bowl.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good scene. Wish they had a little bit better cell coverage, but is what it is. We'll deal with it, and hopefully it's not too windy. I think the weather's supposed to be good. Always good when there's no rain at the Handley Bowl, although we do need rain in the area. But they can hold off on Saturday afternoon, as far as I'm concerned. But yep, it'll be fun to get back to the Handley Bowl.
Oh, trust me, I've seen the other side of you when there was a cord unplugged and everything shut down 25 minutes before airtime, and you're running all over the place. Like, how do I get this on? How do I get this plugged in? So,
The alter
but
ego of Dan Gloster, not a pretty sight, right, Josh?
yes, indeed. So the matchups Dan has with Tim Mondell in Classic Country 95.7, Catoctin at Clarke County on Friday, Brentsville at Handley from the Handley Bowl. On Saturday at 1 o'clock, you can catch Dan Gloster, all of his coverage on Winchester's Classic Country 95.7, and right here on Kirby's Kickoff each and every week with the voice of high school football on Classic Country 95.7, Dan Gloster. Dan, certainly appreciate the time. Again, sir, week 3, it's coming and it's going really quickly. We will catch you next week, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with more right after this.
Located right here in Winchester, Virginia, Barrett Pest and Termite Services celebrates 25 years of service in 2022. And our veteran staff has over 100 years of combined experience preventing and remediating pest and termite infestations. From ants and termites on the ground to mosquitoes, yellow jackets, and hornets in the air, to one-time corrective services for rodents, to ongoing maintenance, Barrett does the job for residential and commercial customers. We also offer discounts for seniors, first responders, and military. What's bugging you? Let us know today, and we'll be out before you know it. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Rec. So glad you're with us. Take a look at week 3 across high school football in the Shenandoah Valley and beyond. The Skyline Hawks have Kettle Run after a week 2 bye, falling to Strasburg in week 1, 41-20. Now joining me, the head coach of the Skyline Hawks, Heath Gilbert. Coach, really appreciate your time again. With the bye week, I know a lot of preparation work with the time off, getting ready for Kettle Run. But what really impressed you after your week 1 matchup against Strasburg, despite not coming out on the winning end?
I thought our kids played physical, and that's one of the things that is going to bode well for the remainder of the season. What we lost on was a turnover battle or a little bit of our emotional stability and penalties. We had 3 touchdowns called back. I really felt like 2 of them were really tough to take. But, we have to correct a few things and make sure we don't put ourselves in those situations again.
And offensively, offensive production looked pretty good. Deshaun Haley, 175 yards and 3 touchdowns to Andre Ford. It looked like Haley and Andre Ford had a really good connection most of the night. What can you say about those 2 players and how they did offensively in that game?
Well, that started back in April. 7-on-7 sessions. Deshaun is a first-year varsity starter. He played quarterback as a JV player. Last year, Nate Ballard was our quarterback. So that connection that they've been creating has been going on since April, and we knew quickly that Andre needed to be a part of what we're doing offensively. In the past, he's been a piece for sure that we haven't necessarily utilized as much as we should have. But he made it very clear to us this spring that he can do some things with the balls in his hand. He has not at all disappointed.
And I know you mentioned your team fought pretty hard and some things not going your way, but what do you sort of want your team to take away from a game like this, going into the game against Kettle Run, like some learning experiences?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we're never going to beat good football teams with losing the turnover battle, not keeping ourselves together and giving away yards because of personal fouls and having these penalties. So what can we do with our technique and what can we do with our mindset to make sure we don't put ourselves in that situation? Because we want to win these football games, and we'll have an opportunity to beat all the teams on our schedule if we can control those factors. And those are things that we can control. If it was a team that we're just not tough enough, we don't play hard enough to compete against the good teams, but that's not the case. We can. We just have to be more disciplined.
I got to ask, Coach, a week 2 bye, the early bye weeks, are you a fan? Not really. Well, in like sort of the preparation with an early bye week going into the rest of week 3 through week 10 and beyond.
Right. It is what it is, I guess. One positive, I guess, is we did have a rash of sickness go through our program. So I'm glad that hopefully that's out of our system moving forward. But, it could be a benefit. It could be a deterrent. It's great to get extra work against Kettle Run, one of the top teams on our program, so on our schedule. So that was definitely a positive.
And I know Kettle Run sort of some newer players on the team. What do you see out of Kettle Run that you like to see your team try and stop, eliminate to try to come out victorious on Friday?
Well, they're going to run the ball at us, so we have to be physical and we have to be tough to try to reduce that for sure. They have good athletes in the passing game, so they try to have a balanced attack in some ways. So we have to be able to defend both. Obviously Strasburg they're going to run the football. They're going to throw it maybe 2 or 3 times a game, but Kettle Run is definitely more balanced.
Kettle Run and Skyline, week 3 high school football right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Always pleased to catch up with the head coach of the Skyline Hawks, Heath Gilbert, right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Coach, really appreciate your time again, sir.
You're welcome.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with more right after this.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad that you're with us, getting set for high school football week number 3. The Clarke County Eagles back at home taking on Catoctin. Last week, Clarke falling to Fort Defiance 33-14. Joining me, as always, the head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs. Coach, despite the loss, getting some more points on the scoreboard. I know we spoke prior and you wanted to see more growth from this young team. From week 1 to week 2, what maybe changed despite the result on the scoreboard, and what really stood out to you about your team?
Well, I thought, number one, we played a lot better for sure. The issue was this: we came out really on fire. We jumped on 7-0. We had a chance to go up 14-0. We had the ball first and goal at 35-yard line, and then we fumbled a snap. Then we jumped off sides, and then we had a negative play. And then, of course, that kind of shot that down. Then we gave ourselves a good chance, though, to go up 2 scores by a field goal, and unfortunately hit the upright. So we didn't we didn't extend our lead, and Fort gathered a lot of momentum off of that, and we kind of put our heads down a little bit, and they broke a long run, and then they held us. And they never drove the ball. It was basically 3 or 4 just long runs where we missed tackles, and that's something that we have got to improve on. We had them at the line of scrimmage multiple times, and then once they got to our second level, we just missed tackles. And but I think at the very end, in the fourth quarter, we took the ball, drove it down the field, and scored, which was a really successful drive. But I think we look back at it, and for 3 quarters, we played well and we gave ourselves a chance to win, but there was a quarter of actual game time midway through the second through midway through the third where we just did not compete very well. And that's when the game got out of hand noticeable bit. We've got to find a way. We've got to find a way to play 4 quarters to give us a chance to win in the fourth quarter.
And from the experiences this week into next week, I would imagine looking for some more improvement from your team, as well as you welcome a Catoctin team, which you've had on the schedule for quite some time. Coach, just going into practice this week, what are you preaching to the kids? What's the message to your kids as you get set to face Catoctin?
Well, one, we have to maintain the football. We cannot handle 3 and outs. We've got to be able to flip the field position. We've got to be able to extend drives. And that kind of goes both ways. You know, we try to throw the ball a little bit. We dropped passes. We didn't protect very well. So it's one of those things where, you know, we've been searching for answers. There's no question about that. And what we have to do is we have to keep doing what we do and get better at what we do. And that's the ultimate thing. You know, we did move the ball. I mean, Grady Farrell had a great game rushing. But, you know, we've got to be able to find some other guys that can run the football that can produce some yards. And also, too, we've got to stay on our blocks better. And then defenses, we just have to tackle. That's all there is to it. You know, we've missed a lot of tackles in the first 2 games, and it's tackles at the line of scrimmage, it's tackles on the second and third levels of our defense. And those are things that just have to improve. And our kids know it, and we don't sugarcoat it with them. But the one good thing is the kids they're still playing hard, they're practicing hard, and they are great kids. So we have to continue to see growth. And like I told the kids Friday night, when we do put together a full quarter game, you know, we'll be in it and we'll give ourselves a chance to win, but we have to be able to play full quarters. And that's something we've been yet to be able to finish and do.
So, with this matchup, too, looking at Catoctin, what are you seeing from them in terms of what they bring to the table on Friday night, and maybe some things you'd like to stop them at doing what they do best?
Well, I mean, we've played them the last few years, and it's been great games. I mean, we've won both of them. But, I mean, I think they've been one-score games, and it's been great high school football. At Catoctin 2 years ago and then here last year, they're big, they're physical, they have some athletes, they do a lot of good things, and they're multiple. This year, they're kind of going away a little bit from the eye and the spread that they used to, and they're running more of a spread wing tee. So they're going to pull guys, they're going to get the balls to the wings, and we got to make sure that we just make sure that we have our eyes where they should be on defense, make the tackles at the point of attack. And then offense, we have to sustain drives. I mean, we cannot let them maintain the football. They want to do the same thing that we want to do and manage the football up and down the field. And they're going to play action. It's going to sprint us out. And we've got to play well. I mean, they're good. They're well coached. I think those guys do a great job up there. And we just have to match their intensity because there's no question on mine. They're going to come down here. They're coming off a loss on their first game on this past Saturday. And, you know, just like we tell all the kids, man, you know, we've had so much success for the last 20 years and people know it, and people also can smell and see the blood in the water, and they're going to try to get us. And our kids have got to know this is coming. This is not where anybody's going to feel sorry for us. We have got to continue to keep grinding and keep playing and get better each and every day.
Once again, Clarke County hosting Catoctin out of Maryland to showcase some action around week 3. High school football. Always pleased to talk football with the head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs, right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Coach, again, really appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with so much more right after this. Are you looking to take the final steps in order to get your driver's license? Look no further. On the Road Driving School offers teen and adult driving, along with classroom sessions for teens and adults, DMV re-exam classes, and driver improvement classes. On the Road Driving School has what you need in order to get on the road. Contact them today at 540-869-6105. That's On the Road Driving School. 540-869-6105. On the Road Driving School will get you on the road. Fall is here, and New Look Landscaping has everything your home needs to look its best. Brighten your yard with colorful mums available now. And don't forget, New Look offers professional power washing to give your home a fresh, clean look. Call New Look Landscaping today at 540-327-1244 or email them 20 2025.nullook@gmail.com. This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad that you're with us, showcasing week 3 across high school football. The Sherando Warriors back at home hosting Jefferson out of West Virginia. Last week, Sherando falling to Loudoun County. Now joining me, the head coach of the Sherando Warriors, TJ Rohrbach. Coach, thanks for your time as always. 1-point defeat up in Loudoun County, but can you sort of talk to us about some of the positive takeaways that you saw out of your team in this matchup?
Yeah, not a lot of positives that you take away whenever you lose, and especially when you lose in the fashion that we did. I guess the positive is you still have a lot of room for improvement, and so you got plenty to work towards.
And I know a game like this, not the way you want to win in the fashion like that, but what do you want your players to sort of take away from this game and hopefully fuel them to continue to compete at a high level to get more positive results on the scoreboard from weeks to come?
Well, I mean, anytime you lose, it exposes a lot of your weaknesses. So, you get to get in there, watch film, point those out, and work towards correcting, those mistakes and trying to improve upon those weaknesses.
And Coach, with the practice this week and preparing for Jefferson, what do you see out of this Jefferson squad that you'd like to stop them from doing tonight over at Arrowhead Stadium in Stevens City to try to get a win in the win column?
I think just, when you look at Jefferson's offense, they have big play capability. So trying to limit the big plays and contain it and make them drive the field. And, that's really the game plan every week, I think, for just about every high school defense. And then defensively, they're really good on the back end. They're really athletic. So hopefully we can establish a line of scrimmage and be able to run the football a little bit.
It's a home game for the Sherando Warriors, week number 3, as Sherando hosts Jefferson out of West Virginia. Always great talking football with the head coach of the Sherando Warriors, TJ Rohrbach. Coach, really appreciate your time again, sir, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.
Frederick County Parks and Recreation announces Bluegrass and Barbecue, a free community concert held at the amphitheater behind Bowman Library in Stevens City, Virginia. On October 4th from 12 to 5, come out to the amphitheater at Bowman Library to enjoy numerous musical talents and some food vendors for an enjoyable afternoon of music with Bluegrass and Barbecue. For more information, you can check out the website fcprd.net. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Week 3 of high school football, highlighting all the matchups from across the local area. The James Wood Colonels in Culpeper County square off tonight. Last week, the Colonels 57-6 over Dominion. Now joining me, the head coach of the James Wood Colonels, Todd Wilson. And Coach, I would imagine a lot of positives to take out of a 57-6 win, your first home game at the Ridge campus. What'd you like the most?
One thing that really stuck out to me is no penalties. I mean, we had one penalty. It was a special teams. It was kind of a close call, hit out of bounds. But that was the only penalty all night. We didn't have anything on defensive side. Didn't have any penalties on the offensive side. The guys came out really fired up. Obviously, first home game, really, really excited to play in front of the home fans. Sometimes that leads to a little bit of, high adrenaline, making a little bit of mistakes here and there. But we didn't have that. lot of good, like you said, it was a lot of good, but as a coach in me, we're trying to fix all the bad things. So we did put the ball on the ground again. I don't like seeing us do that back-to-back weeks. So that'll be another emphasis this week of really trying to fix that ball security.
You mentioned only one penalty. That must be huge for the coaching staff, because when it comes to discipline and staying disciplined and not having the yellow flag thrown on the field but once, that must be a good feeling for you all. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean it is. It feels real good, because when things like that happen, it throws the whole game. I mean, both sides. I mean, nobody wants to see a flag fest on Friday nights. Like, I understand the officials are there to do a job, and they do the best job that they possibly can do, and we appreciate all the officials that come out to these games. But it's nice when it's very limited. And the other side, I mean, they didn't have Dominion didn't have a lot of flags thrown on them either, so it was kind of a clean game all around as far as like the flags are concerned. So just the flow of the game goes much better that way.
So starting offensively, Owen Neal, a couple rushing touchdowns seemed to shine pretty good. I know last week maybe gotten shaken up there in the game against Clarke County, but how do you think he did out there in the offense, controlling the offense and just getting the job done when needed?
He manages the offense really well. I mean, this is going into his third season under this system. So, he kind of, he knows it just about as well as the coaching staff does. So, it's well, easily ran by him. And the guys around him are making things a lot easier as well. The guys up front are doing a good job blocking. Pass pro was really good again this week. In the run game, they did a really good job opening some holes up for Jeremiah Hodell and all the other guys that were running the ball for us this week as well.
And defensively, holding Dominion to 6 points, and Clarke County last week to 3 points. I know as a coaching staff, I would imagine there's a lot more you would like to see improved on in the weeks to come, but 6, 7, 8, 9 points in the first 2 weeks, that must be great to see your defense do that to start off the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there's still a lot to improve upon. We didn't do a great job there in the second half, as kind of over pursuing a little bit, opened up some cutback lanes. But overall, like, we're really proud of how we've started these first 2 weeks. We know our schedule just gets tougher from here. We got a really good opponent in Culpeper week 3. And then following week, we got a really good opponent in Sherando. So we know we have tougher part of our schedules ahead of us. So we're trying to fix all those mistakes that we're seeing. We're excited. We're happy about the wins, but we're not satisfied. The kids aren't satisfied. They have bigger goals set in place just to start the year off 2-0. But we really appreciative of where we're at right now within the season.
So Culpeper County, traveling down to Culpeper County. What do you see? What's sort of your scout on Culpeper, and what would you like to see your team try to do pretty well to try to get a victory tonight?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing week in and week out, like line of scrimmage. They're by far will be the biggest opponent we've seen as far as size-wise up front. They're very big. Offensive line's big. They get after it. Their 2 guards are very competitive. I like the way they play. Their running back, number 34, he's a really, really big kid. He runs the ball hard. I think he's a wrestler as well. So, if he's I think state qualifier, maybe a state placer in wrestling. So, he's a tough kid, tells you that about him. And then the defensive side, same thing. They're big up front and they run to the ball. So, this will be our biggest test so far this season, and we're looking forward to it.
And just going back, Coach, you mentioned that your team is not satisfied with the good start 2-0, but you're striving for bigger and better things. And it seems in my time just covering and speaking with you and covering the team, it seems like that fuels their energy. Like, you're playing so well, but at the same time, they want so much more. How's the energy so far, just in general, after these first 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, they're excited about it. I mean, we talk to the kids all the time. When you invest so much into something, it means a little bit more. We've had really good buy-in in the off season. I mean, we start getting after the season's over, we give them about a month off through the holidays, and then guys are back at it in January. So, this is a 11, 12-month job. The kids understand that. They put the time in. I mean, a lot of kids play other sports that are on our team, but they're still invested into this program. And when you're invested into something like that and you spend that much time and energy and effort to try to perfect your craft, it means a little bit more. So, I mean, that's just kind of what we've been trying to build the program the last couple years. And I think we're trying to try to take that next step, so to speak.
Week 3 of high school football, the James Wood Colonels travel down to face Culpeper County. As always, it is great to talk football with the head coach of the James Wood Colonels, Todd Wilson. Coach, thanks once again for joining us. We'll catch you next week, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Josh.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with more right after this. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports with Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation, Week 3 of high school football. As we take a look, the Handley Judges are at the Handley Bowl, opening up the home season against Brentsville this Saturday last week, defeating Liberty in a Northwestern District battle 46-16. Now joining me, the head coach of the Handley Judges, Jake Smith. Coach, appreciate your time as always. And I know 46-16, a lot of positives to take out of this game. But again, I think we discussed this last week. Some of the penalties, I know as a coaching staff, you don't want to see that many penalties, but still some flags were on the field as well. But just overall, what were your thoughts on this game?
I thought we did a good job, first of all, keeping the quarterback in check. He's a very talented player. He did end up exiting the game early. While he was in there, I thought we did a great job getting pressure with 4 and with the defensive line in the secondary, doing a great job of covering downfield. And then, offensively, I think we did a great job of generating explosive plays, which led to scores. And then, probably most importantly, we had a chance to practice some situational football. They had the ball backed up late in the first half. We called 3 timeouts, got a stop, had a short field, and was able to convert that to points right before the half. So, I think all those things are really positive, from that game and moving forward in the season.
Yeah, so a big win like this by a huge margin. You mentioned the situational side of football. How huge is that you sort of get to maybe use some guys who aren't really in your starting rotation, so to speak, but getting experienced people more opportunities to play in certain situations or whatever is tailored to what you're looking at as a coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you get more people on the field, it's just a great experience for those kids to have game repetition and game tape. Every kid on our roster was able to play in that game, which I think is fantastic. And the backups and 3s and 4s, they did a great job when they were in there as well.
And just looking offensively, it looked like Duncan with 14 pass attempts, 8 completions, 135 yards. Looks like most of the offense was on the ground, but Duncan setting things up in the air on 3 rushing touchdowns as well. How does the passing game complement the running game and vice versa in your offense early on?
I think Duncan's been doing a great job of getting the ball out on time, getting it to our guys in space, and reading defense as well. He's accounted for 6 touchdowns this year and 1 turnover, which is a great ratio to have, through 2 weeks of football. And again, he's a student of the game. He spends a lot of time meeting with me, and he's worked really, really hard to put himself in this position, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
And defensively holding Liberty to 16 points, low scoring on that part, but defensively that must be a great sign to see against Eastern View, a limited amount of points, and then Liberty only 16 points as well. How huge is that on the defensive side of the football to see those results?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, our starting defense has given up 9 points this season, which I think is a great thing for us. We knew we were going to be able to lean on those guys a lot this year as they had some valuable experience, coming back from the past, 2 previous seasons. And, really, JoJo and Trent Gomez and those guys and linebacking core, everybody kind of knows. But, we have a lot of new faces on the defensive line, and I think they've been playing outstanding football throughout the first 2 weeks.
So just looking, I would imagine energy's a little bit higher because you've had to wait 2 weeks before the home opener at the Handley Bowl. And we all know what football's like on a Saturday afternoon in Winchester, Virginia at the Handley Bowl. Just what's the energy like just in general going into the first home game of the season?
Yeah, I mean, you start the year traveling over an hour to both games. It's going to be nice to play at home. Obviously, playing on Saturday is something that's unique to us. Gives us a competitive advantage there as well. Our kids are excited about it. The school's excited about it. The community's excited about it, and we're really looking forward to it.
And Brentsville, what do you see out of Brentsville that you sort of like to hone in on to try to get success on the football field on Saturday and potentially a victory?
Yeah, I mean, Brentsville, unfortunately for us, they've only played 1 game so far. Their bye week was week 1. But in the game film, that we received, they played Briarwoods, who's in the 5A state championship game last year. They came up 7 points short in that game, but they have a new head coach. You can tell that the kids are coached well. They play hard. They have a great scheme on both sides of the football. I'm really excited for this matchup. For us, we have to play better on special teams than we did last week. That's obviously a point of emphasis. But defensively, we got to shut the run game down, and force them to be, one-sided football. And then offensively, we have to establish a ground game early and often in this one.
Absolutely. Once again, Handley and Brentsville this upcoming Saturday from the Handley Bowl. As always, joining me right here on Kirby's Kickoff, the head coach of the John Handley Judges, Jake Smith. Coach, as always, really appreciate your time with us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with so much more right after this.
Bed bugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bed bug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bed bugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
This is Kirby's Kickoff Week 3 of high school football. We'll take a look at the Millbrook Pioneers. They are home for the first time this season against Loudoun County, and last week in Loudoun County at Heritage High School with a big win, the first overall win for first-year head coach Nick Manuel as the head coach of the Millbrook Pioneers. Coach, thanks for joining us. I know some time to digest the win, look over film, I would imagine. I know just from the sidelines, it looked like a lot of positives from your team, but still some stuff you would like to correct and work on for weeks to come. But how did it feel just getting that first win, getting the victory? The team seemed very excited. That must help a lot when it comes to confidence moving forward after a big win like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our team morale is up. We've had some hard practices from our kids this week, I think, as a result of the win. Each and every week we know that we still have a lot to improve on, and I believe we did this week. And our kids, I think, they're excited to compete against another really good football team. But overall, just a win. I'm proud of our kids and what they were able to accomplish. And, our assistant coaches really deserve that one with all the hard work they've put in.
And just looking through the week of practice and stuff with a win like that, you mentioned your kids are doing some really good things. How does that translate, just the energy, into really good practices? And I believe you mentioned just stacking days and days of good practice. And how does that sort of benefit when it comes to another tough opponent in Loudoun County on Friday night?
Yeah, well, I think we now have a little bit of experience under our belt. Loudoun Valley is one of the better opponents, and we had the opportunity to see them week 1. And Heritage has some really good size and some physicality. So we can kind of start to say, hey, we've been here before. We know what it expects, and we know that it's going to take kind of everything. But hopefully, we're able to learn from those previous 2 weeks and build off of those and keep stacking the days like we'd hope.
And what do you see out of Loudoun County, Coach, that you sort of want to try to eliminate from their game plan tonight to try to come out with another win in the win column for the Millbrook Pioneers?
Well, we know that they have a very, very talented running back, and we know that he has potential to take it to the house at any time. We know we're not going to be able to stop him. We just want to be able to control him in a way and limit those explosive plays. But we also know that their tight ends are very good, and they can hurt us also in the passing game. Receivers are just as talented, but when number one is such a highlight player like he is, they're kind of in the shadows a little bit.
Absolutely. So, Coach, I know sometimes the way it shapes out with the schedule, teams are on the road for the first few games. Is the intensity even greater knowing that this is the first home game of the season? And I know how exciting and electrifying, what a fun atmosphere it is when you're at your home stadium. And to that point, are there any emotions for you getting the chance to coach in front of the home crowd for the first time?
We know our kids are excited. We know our school's excited. We kind of look at this as the opener for the culture that we want to build at Millbrook over the next couple years. So there's a little bit of extra planning that goes into that, and just kind of getting things going the way I want them. But also at the end of the day, we know we gotta treat every opponent the same. So we can't get too high on our own energy there, and we got to stay disciplined and stay focused and still execute the game plan, and not focus on the hype of a football game, I would say.
Absolutely. It is Millbrook hosting Loudoun County, part of week 3 of high school football across the Shenandoah Valley and beyond. Always a pleasure talking football with the head coach of the Millbrook Pioneers, Nick Manuel. Coach, certainly appreciate your time, sir, and we will catch you next week.
Yeah, thanks, Josh, for covering our kids and, bringing them a little bit of highlight. Once again, Josh Kirby, best in the business. Thanks, Josh. Bye.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with more right after this. Are you looking to take the final steps in order to get your driver's license? Look no further. On the Road Driving School offers teen and adult driving, along with classroom sessions for teens and adults, DMV re-exam classes, and driver improvement classes. On the Road Driving School has what you need in order to get on the road. Contact them today at 540-869-6105. That's On the Road Driving School. 540-869-6105. On the Road Driving School will get you on the road. This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Week 3 across high school football as we take a look at some more matchups. The Warren County Wildcats traveling over to Strasburg after a week 2 bye. Joining me, the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Josh Breeden. And Coach, going back to week 1, a tough loss to Rock Ridge. A long bye week, I would imagine, would help. But, just what are your final thoughts after that loss to Rock Ridge? And did the time with the week 2 bye week really help your team when it comes to preparing for Strasburg tonight?
Yeah, we definitely had opportunities against Rock Ridge that we didn't take advantage of. Really, really tough way for a football game to end. Came down to a lot of coaching decisions at the end on my end. I got to be better. The boys fought hard, played hard all night. I have to be better about handling the situation. But, the bye week was good for us. Good chance for us to get back and focus on fundamentals. A lot of individual work, just focusing on technique. So Strasburg is going to be a really tough opponent. They're really well coached. They're good at what they do. And they're very physical up front. So, the bye week for us was good for everybody to get healthy and be ready to give them our best fight.
It's 50-50 when I ask everybody this. Do you like the early bye week, or would you much rather it be later in the season? I know you don't really pick the schedule, but early bye weeks seem to – it's sort of odd to me when it comes to early buys in high school football.
Yeah, I think – it kind of depends on where you're at as far as a program standpoint. If you have any early injuries, it's really beneficial to kind of get everybody healthy when you have tough opponents coming up later in the season. But, I could kind of go either way. The bye week is when it is. We just have to prepare for it and take advantage of it. Like I said, it's a good opportunity for everybody to get healthy and rest up. But we know we have a tough road ahead now. I have 9 opponents straight. We have to be sure that we're doing everything in our power to keep everybody healthy and feeling good for the rest of the way.
And a Strasburg team, and we all know what they're capable of running the football. And I would imagine starting defensively, you're looking to try to plug up that run the best to your ability for this Wildcats team tonight.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're a very, very physical team. They're well coached. They're really good at what they do. I know they have a lot of returners up front on that offensive line. So, they've been together for a full season, and now, their last 2 games, just watch them on film. It really stands out how they fire off the ball and how physical they are. So we really have to make sure that, we're doing our job up front, make sure we're getting hands on people, not let them get to the second level. Just doing everything we can, watching counter cutback and all those moving pieces in that backfield. It's easy for your eyes to kind of get lost with all those guys in the backfield. But if we stay disciplined and trust our technique and trust our scheme, I think we'll be successful.
And I know week 1 in the early season as well, you're trying to see how your team gels together. And with the game 2 weeks ago on Friday, speaking offensively in the bye week. How do you think your offense gelled together, and how do you think that progresses into this week 3 matchup as your team has had one game of experience in this early season? And what do you see offensively that you like out of your team so far?
Well, again, I think we had a lot of opportunities. I think things were clicking in the first half, and it kind of got away from us in the second half. But I was really happy with the passing game in the first half. The Bryce Bergman, Nick Harlow connection looked really good. We had freshman McCoy Robinson catch a touchdown. He went up and made a great play on the ball. Defensively, we were flying around. So I'm happy with how we're looking, how we're meshing together, or how we're working, all 11 guys on the field. We just got to keep getting better every week. Try to go 1-0 every day. So, this week of practice has been a really good week of practice. And I'm excited for what we're going to do in the game.
It is Warren County traveling over to Strasburg to face the Rams of Strasburg. As always, a pleasure talking football with the head coach of the Warren County Wildcats, Josh Breeden, right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Coach, really appreciate your time again, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with more right after this.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
Follow us here, and New Look Landscaping has everything your home needs to look its best. Brighten your yard with colorful mums available now. And don't forget, New Look offers professional power washing to give your home a fresh, clean look. Call New Look Landscaping today at 540-327-1244 or email them at 2025.nullook@gmail.com. Wrapping things up here on Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time, stopping in and checking out Kirby's Kickoff. This is week 3 of Kirby's Kickoff. Now, if you're going out to a local game in the area, hopefully the insight and interviews and analysis from these interviews and Kirby's Kickoff will give you a little bit more knowledge going into the game, so you know what's going on. So really appreciate your time. Thank you to all of our sponsors in Frederick County Parks and Recreation as well. Do us a favor, give us a like, subscribe on YouTube, give us a follow on all streaming platforms, as well as your support is greatly appreciated as we continue through the high school football season. Week 3 is here. Enjoy the football games tonight and Saturday afternoon if you're at Handley, and we will catch you for week number 4. This has been Kirby's Kickoff for week number 3. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great weekend.